Okay, so hi everyone, Sadie Hobson from We Work Well here, joined today by two very, very special guests, and really we're going to be exploring some issues that I personally have faced, and I'm fairly sure a lot of you guys have faced as well over the recent weeks, or well, months really, I suppose we're getting to now. So firstly, before we get into that, let's go with some introductions. So if you guys could just introduce yourselves, tell us who you are and what you do.
I
was going to say that. Oh man, you beat me to it. Well, my name's Barry Ash. I'm the better of this half here. Got that one in first.
You're brave.
I've been in the fitness industry pretty much as far as I can remember. Back when I was 16, I started working in the fitness industry, in the leisure industry as a sports centre. Got a little bit bored of it, and I thought I'll adventure out and I'll join the prison service. So I spent the next 10 years as a prison officer. First 3 years I was walking the landings, but I still had this passion, this drive to do my health, do my fitness. But I was really lucky in the prison service because I could specialise as a PI, which is a physical training instructor. So I spent the next 7 years teaching prisoners to become personal trainers, fitness instructors, remedial sports massage therapists as well. 7 years, 8 years later, Loz got medically retired from the police, but she'll tell you a little bit about that. And then we made this decision to either play at rock solid, or we both jump in feet first and we will go at it 110% and put everything we've got into it. And that's what we did. And then what are we now, 7 years in, 6 years in? Rock solid is just growing and growing and growing. And we like to concentrate on the mind to control the bodies. It's really important that we understand what goes up in our head, so the body will follow. And that's where we are now, really.
Fabulous.
Over to you.
Thank you. So guys, my name is Laura Ash, better half of this one. And we are husband and wife, okay? Husband and wife, being married and together longer than you get manslaughter for, basically. And we're the owners of Rock Solid. And yeah, you know, Barry alluded to the fact of my medical retirement. I'm a former police officer and counter-terrorism intelligence officer turned health and wellbeing coach, which is a bit odd. But I was medically retired from the police force because of a diagnosis I have of bipolar and OCD. And I kind of knew the devastation that not looking after your health and well-being caused, hence the medical retirement. And, you know, when I was retired, we wanted to be able to create something where people could understand their mind to control their body, so that they could change their habits and their behaviours and create their own version of health and well-being, because that's what I've done for myself. And I found that's been one of the most profound changes that I've had, you know, with my mental health and my physical health as well.
Okay,
fabulous. There you go.
And speaking of our own health, you guys sort of over the recent struggling, difficult times, how have you personally found it? How have you been getting on?
Me personally, I don't think hasn't changed a lot for me, apart from face-to-face contact with the clients. We've started to see a lot more online work, but majority of our work is online anyway, and it's just me and Loz in our house. It's been like that for the last 7 years.
And your cats.
We're like little hermits. And the cats, yeah.
Yeah.
So nothing's really changed in that terms. It's just the face-to-face contact and not actually being able to touch somebody, you know, that face-to-face contact. That's the only thing that's changed for me.
Well, loads has changed for me.
Obviously.
I'm having to do the housework. I've got to do the shopping. No, to be honest with you, yes, we do work from home, and we have done for the past 7 years. Yes, we are online. However, I found that just having the restriction of us almost being in a glass box has really caused some difficulties in like our mental capacity. You know, I've found I'm a lot more tired, a bit more snappy. I've had good days and bad days. I've had no appetite. I've had all the appetite. You know, I've wanted to train, then I haven't wanted to train. Been laying in a bit longer. So I do feel that although yes, we work at home and this is our norm to be at home, I do feel being put in this glass box has had some impact, I feel, on both our mental healths, to be honest with you. you know, and that's the addition of money worries and, you know, clients coming in, all the stuff that we face when we're self-employed or running our own business.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you say about the restrictions being placed on us and how that heightens different emotions. And I know for me, in any given day, my emotions will just do this, and they just spike all over the place. And I wake up and think, no, I'm in a good place. I'm feeling good actually. Today's been a good day, and by midday, I'm like, I'm just on the floor, and I'm really in much more heightened state. Like, I'm not overly, I wouldn't call myself a crier, but now at the moment, like literally something happens like an advert, and I'm like just sort of welling up, and it's just, I do find myself experience more heightened and intense emotions at the moment, and I understand that that's normal. And it's because of sort of the way that we are primed, particularly with the, you know, the media, social media. We're constantly bombarded with quite anxiety-driven messages, right? But yeah, I do think what you're saying about sort of the glass box, it can feel a little bit like it's closing in a little bit. And you said about motivation to train and things, and I'm just going to pounce on your words there, because that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about with this, because I've struggled, and I was saying to you before we start recording, you know, I've really, really struggled, and it is that motivation. Yes, my gym's shut, but I could very easily, I live out in the sticks, got beautiful fields around me, I can easily go for a run around the country lanes. I used to do it all the time, and now just getting dressed in the workout gear and getting out and doing it, it's like it's hard. And you know, why do you think it is? Why do you think people are struggling more at the moment to actually get out and exercise when it can be so good for them?
I think the biggest thing, we've got our routine, our normal routine is out the window. We can, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do this. We haven't got this right. I've got to be up. I've got to go to work. I've got to come home. I've got to cook the dinner. I've got to do this. I've got to bed. We've got these time slots throughout the day when we go to work. But now it's sort of all merged into one. We control our own day now. We can do as much work or as little work. We can go to the outside and do our workout or not. And we can put things off. And I think this is the problem, is we do put things off, and we're trying to look for that ideal moment to do it, when I'm going to feel 100% good about doing it. When sometimes it's just like, I just need to get out and have a walk. I just need to say 9 o'clock in the morning is my walk time. That is my section. And then make that commitment to yourself, and then put it in that routine of yours.
I almost think we're seeing it through a little bit of rose-tinted glasses, if I'm honest with you. Because, right, first of all, let's look at how long did it take you to build up that routine to get going to the gym, right? Yeah, and how often, right, exactly, and how often would you go, oh, I've got to go to the gym? But then you get up and you go, because, again, you've got these restrictions, these time restrictions in place. But I think we're kind of looking at it through rose-tinted glasses in that respect, that really, you know, a lot of us are, oh, I've got to go to the gym, but we're still having the same reaction about, oh, I've got to go out and go for a run. It's just that we're seeing it through rose-tinted glasses. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But also, how long did it take you to get into that routine? Probably weeks, months, maybe years for some people, right? And you're focusing on, well, I used to go to the gym 3 times a week. Yeah, but how long did it take you to get into doing that skill of going to the gym and that routine? And now it's like, right, okay, it's a new skill we've got to learn. It's a new routine we've got to get into, you know. And whenever we do something for the first time, it's always difficult. But then as we do it more and more, it becomes easier and easier. Like going to the gym, it becomes more of a well-practiced muscle. Whereas this new muscle of home working out is all very new, and it's, oh, do you know what I mean? And, you know, that kind of thing. So I do think we've got a bit of rose-tinted glasses going on, if I'm honest with you.
Joe, I thought of it purely from the mental health point of view, and the fatigue from being stressed and being in that heightened state and everything associated with that. But yeah, I guess you're right about the time and the routines, because my days, I mean, they're busy now, but they're nowhere near what it used to be like. And like you say, hurtling about, and it was like, oh, I've got the window when the gym opens at 6:30 to 7:15 in the morning. That's when I train. So there wasn't any thinking about it or any contemplating, shall I, shan't I, because that's the only shot I've got. And yeah, once that's gone, so I have to do it then, even if I wake up like, ugh, that's all I've got, and if I want to go and work out in any way. So yeah, it's almost like there's too much freedom of like, well, I've got all day to go for a run, so I don't feel like it at the moment.
It's when you probably wake up feeling, most mornings, But when we was in the routine and you said that was the only time slot to go to the gym, it was like, oh no, I've got to get to the gym. So your focus went from feeling to right, I've got to get my shit together and I've got to get to the gym now. So your mental focus goes, boom, what have I got? Where am I going? But now you get time to sort of, I don't like to use the word wallow, but you can sit with that feeling of how you are.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like really pants now. And you sit with it because you've got that time to do it.
Yeah.
And when you sit with that time and you're sitting with your emotions like that, they start to grow. And when they start to grow, they start to dictate how you feel and what you do. And we say you've got to change your state, whether it is get up. I have a cold shower every morning and that just wakes me up and it gets me out of that feeling. It's like, oh my God, that's cold. And it wakes me up. It gives me a purpose. Yeah. But I tell you what, it's an amazing feeling when you do that and you've won the war. You've won that war on the right. I'm getting up and I'm going to put myself in a stressed situation. So my body knows how to deal with stress whenever it comes upon me now. And it's just that you train your body to cope with these situations. And training is exactly the same thing.
But also don't forget, like when we go to the gym, we have a certain workout. We go there, we push hard, we get it done, and then at home we're like, oh, well, I'm not going to work out as hard as I did in the gym, so what's the point? But
it's like you've heard me.
But the whole point, this period now is not about weight loss. It's not about building muscle. It's not about anything like that. It's about health, detoxing our bodies and doing what's right for our well-being. That's a different way of training completely. The problem is people only know how to go, push, whereas there's lots of different colours and facets to training that we could start to embrace now.
Definitely. It's interesting, just briefly go back to what you said, Barry. The other day we took our dogs out and we take them down we're right local to a river, so we walk down to the river and walk along the riverbanks. Beautiful. And I was feeling like just sort of, dogs need to go out, let's just go out. And I was feeling so flat and just almost nothing, just that empty, just not happy, not sad, just and the dog's like paddling in the river and I was like, do you know what, I'm going with him. And I just walked into the river and the cold water just jolted me to feel something, just to wake up and just have that zing, and it changed my day around just because it just was a bolt just through me and just made me feel something rather than that grey just flatness. It's interesting what you just said about the types of training there, Laura, because isn't it true that if you train too hard and push too hard, it actually has a detrimental impact on your immune system? Is that right?
It affects your central nervous system. If you push too hard, too often, too soon, it affects your central nervous system, it affects your adrenals, and it can affect everything. It can actually make you pretty sick and poorly and ill because it hits your immune system and you're trying to fight too many things.
I almost get like flu-like symptoms, and I have brought on like a proper cold before now because I've just overdone it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the gym and stuff. I
think that's what the danger of people doing at the moment, because if they have been at home a lot and there has been the restrictions and only going out for an hour a day and things like that, and if they suddenly, that we have got slightly more ability to go out more and to exercise more at the moment, I won't call it freedom, but there are more options certainly, so that people are like, right, I'm going to shape up and everything like that and go too hard. And the one thing we need to do is manage our overall health and well-being and our immune system right now and take care of ourselves. So there is that danger, I think, of people trying to push too hard. So do you think it's more a case of having sort of a balance, a steady balance of pushing themselves but not overexerting themselves?
So I would vary it. So for example, even athletes, I know one of my coaches, Vic, instilled this in me. Even athletes have a cyclical rhythm to their training where it'd be a medium, high, no, low. So you have a medium intensity day, a high intensity day, a low intensity day, and a no intensity day. All right. So it's very much like this. Do you know what I mean? So your body can recover. So after you've had that medium, you then step up the pace because you prepared yourself to go into the high. Do you know what I mean? Then you have a no day, gives you time to repair. Then you have a low day. So whatever that looks like for you, maybe a no and a low day is yoga and walking. Maybe the intense day is doing, I don't know, some HIIT or, going on endurance bike ride, I don't know, do you know what I mean? And maybe a medium day is just focusing on some weights at home, some body work stuff, do you know what I mean? So you can see you've got that nice rhythm. And for me, Sadie, with my mental health, you know, with the bipolar, I'll only do maximum 3 difficult sessions a week, maximum.
Really?
That's it, nothing more, nothing less, and everything else is really low intensity.
The 2 words I always use: we need to stimulate our body, not annihilate our body.
I like that.
Exercise, because exercise, if you put it in a spectrum like that, it comes in 3 sections. We've got a detox section, which is like your really basic beginning exercise. If you're new into exercise, just work on detoxing. It's like moving your body, going for a gentle walk. Then we up the pace and we look at our endurance. And this is working on our cardiovascular system. Because if we've got a really good cardiovascular system, our body can repair and recuperate a lot easier. Then the 3rd section is your intensity, working on your fitness. So these are the ladders I use when I'm training my guys. If they haven't trained for a long time, we start with the detox, getting rid of all the crap that's in our system. Then we look at our endurance, muscular endurance and cardiovascular, so our body can repair after the really hard sessions. And then once you nail these 2, then we can up it to look at the intensity of our training, whether it is HIIT training, whether it is Olympic lifting, powerlifting, or whatever it is. So we need to be able to manage these 3 sections of our training.
That's really interesting. I suppose what it comes down to for me is just the management of expectations and what you want to achieve, and putting things in place that are right for you. And I call it comparisonitis, when people are on social media and sort of, oh, so-and-so's just run 10K in sub 60 minutes. Why can't I do that? And, you know, looking at people who are doing the Joe Wicks workout every day, and why haven't I got the energy to do that? And, you know, one, if you try and you haven't got the right fitness, like you say, it will be more annihilating your body. And it's all about putting something together that's right for your physical health and, as you say, your mental health. You know, what is right for me and what my body needs right now. And I managed to go for a 5K run the other day, but the time was no way near what I used to. I got back, and obviously I had like the, you know, feel good hormones of doing it, but I was like looking at my time and thinking, oh, you know, look where your fitness has gone.
Jump in there. And this is what I see a lot of people, as you say, Joe Wicks, fantastic what he's doing. He's bringing the community together. He's getting people exercises, but people are jumping in straight at that intensity levels, and they're getting a bad association to exercise because they can't do it. They can't complete the workout. They feel absolutely whacked after it. Their body is in bits. They're screaming because everything is so sore. And then whenever they think of exercise, they think, I'm not doing that because I can't, that's how I'm going to feel.
Yeah.
So we get a bad association to it. And then if we have a bad association to a certain thing, we think about doing it and our body goes, nah, we ain't doing that. Mm-hmm. So this is what builds up the bad associations. So if we looked at the 3 sections I spoke about, and we start off at the irrelevant sections, we're going to start falling in love with it, because we're going to start achieving, we're going to start progressing. And it's that word progressing. If we can see progression in our training without the pain and the horrible bits, we're going to be doing it more often. And it's the ability to do something more often, that you're going to do it more often and you're going to enjoy it.
But the other thing is, Sadie, you went for a 5K run.
Yeah, didn't my legs know it the next day?
Absolutely. But, you know, we're all under pressure. We're all struggling with our mental health and our thoughts. But you still got up and you went out for a 5K run. That is amazing in itself. Even if it took you an hour, it doesn't matter. You still did it. Yeah. And that is what we need to focus on. I did it.
Yeah, and I think as well, just moving away, because when I first started running, it was the Red January, you know, that Run Every Day Mind campaign. And I had never been a runner, ever. Used to go to classes at the gym, but didn't run. I'd just get bored. So for me, I didn't have any great expectations of what I'd achieve. And it was just like, I ran today. That for me is good enough. It's an achievement. And then as I started to pick up and doing like park run, a couple of 10Ks, I did a half marathon. Obviously, you're more conscious of your time and you start looking at your pace and things like that. And it was great and I loved it, but it kind of took away the joy a little bit of just running. And I think that was the problem the other day. It was a beautiful views where I was running, beautiful sunny morning, but rather than looking at, you know, the babbling river and, you know, the views, I was looking at, you know, my watch thinking, oh my God, I'm so slow. And it takes it all away. It takes away all the joy of actually enjoying the exercise and enjoying running. And, you know, maybe I walk, run, it doesn't matter. Like you say, it's whatever's right for me at the moment. And I think that's because obviously I do a lot of stuff with workplaces, and we're talking to people about, say, when they're working at home, and you know, them adjusting and saying, no, normally I could get this much done in a day, and I'm only done like 60% of what I'd normally produce. What's wrong with me? Like, it should be easier. I haven't had to commute. And there's all these messages, and we you know, the ants, the automatic negative thoughts theory. And I always talk to them like they breed, don't they? And what you were saying earlier about ruminating, now, there's a couple of ants that say you're useless, you're a failure, but they quickly start to breed until there's a whole army of them, and that makes you feel overwhelmed by all these thoughts, and it pushes you down. And you know, I say to them with the working at home, even if you do 40% of your to-do list, that's something that's good. You know, look at what you have achieved rather than what you haven't. And isn't it funny that I can give that advice to people? You're right. You're right. I got out and did it. So winning, #winning. So what about the food thing? With, you know, a lot of people are comfort eating, and you know, that again is going to compound sort of feelings of guilt, particularly if they're not exercising like they usually would. So what are your thoughts on the nutrition eating element and what people can do there?
So what aspect do you want to go down with the emotional eating? Do you want to go down the emotional mental route, or do you go down the more practical route? Do you know what I mean? Which there are two of them. You know, I think a lot of people are emotional eating at the moment, and we've really got to get a grip on it, because it will be that will come and bite you in the bum. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to sit on a sofa, drink wine, eat chocolate, you know, that kind of thing.
It is like you've got surveillance in my living room. Chocolate wine? No, not me.
Now, it could be that we're just treating every day like a weekend, mm-hmm. right? Which we need to get back into some sort of routine. Doesn't mean to say you can't have this stuff, because, you know, if someone said that I couldn't have chocolate, they would, you know, be very badly hurt.
I've seen you in action. I'm not going to ever tell you that.
But, you know, it's like we've got to look at, you know, the emotional eating and why we're possibly doing it. A lot of people are doing it because they're feeling alone, they're feeling isolated, which maybe correlates to, you know, stuff that's happened in their past, and they've used food as a crux to get through that. And now that could be throwing up a lot of emotions. You know, we're feeling all the emotions under the rainbow. People who are rebels are struggling at the moment because they don't like the fact that their freedom's been taken away from them. And perhaps when they were younger, what they used to do was smoke or drink or eat. So now that's their way of finding freedom. That's a really good point. Yeah. You know, maybe your way of finding comfort and, you know, love is through food. And you've really got to look at addressing that, as I say, because that's going to be the one thing that's really going to cause issues, you know. And also you just think, oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'll start again tomorrow. Or I start when the lockdown's over, I'll start then, right? But there's no better time than to plant a tree right now, okay? One of the good things that we've got is up there. We did a food planning Facebook Live, and it was all about using sticky Post-it notes, and being able to plan your week for the food that you're going to have, and use the sticky notes and put them on the weeks, on the days, put them on, you know, lunch, dinner, that kind of thing, but also programming your snacks. So if you are going to have some wine, you are going to have some chocolate, maybe it's 3 times a week rather than 7 times a week, do that, right? And program it in when you're going to have it. But the other thing with food, if you are really finding that you are literally eating everything in the house, like chocolate, you're drinking maybe every minute a day, because some people are, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to stop this. Don't think I've got to stop this forever, because when you think like that, it's gonna overwhelm you. So the best thing to focus is on one morning, one afternoon, one evening, one day. Done. Right, now let's tackle the next day. Even if you have to break it down to 1 hour. 1 hour. Do you know what I mean? To really break that down for you. But it does come down to planning and preparation, and, you know, planning in those snacks, I think, because when we feel like it's been taken away from us, we want it even
I
more.
want it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think you're right about breaking it down into sort of chunks and small goals, because yeah, if you say, right, that's it, I'm not gonna have any cheap chocolate now, that's it, you know, straight away, like you say, the first thing's what you're gonna think about is chocolate. So breaking it down and thinking right hour by hour, it just makes it seem more manageable, I guess, doesn't it? Do you think boredom's a big element as well?
But what is boredom? We got to look at what is boredom. Boredom is just a level of certainty. We have too much certainty in our life, then we become really bored because we know what's going to happen around the corner. We know exactly what's going to happen all the time, so we get bored. And then when we get bored, we're looking for a little bit of uncertainty in our lives. This is why we probably have an argument with someone, or we go into the fridge. I don't know how many times I've looked in the fridge.
I know, I go, why are you looking in the fridge?
And then I look in the fridge again to make sure nothing's changed in there. But I know nothing's changed, so I haven't brought anything. But we're looking for that uncertainty in our lives. And it might be that I'm going to go and have a glass of wine, or I'm going to have that chocolate bar, just to feel something different to what I'm feeling at this moment.
I think boredom sometimes is because you feel isolated and lonely.
Yeah.
That's just me.
And you're looking for a different state. You're looking for a different feeling.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
If you've got that association or that coping mechanism or coping behaviour of eating, then that's going to slip straight in there, because the mind will do the best strategy for the most happiness, without a shadow of a doubt. But the problem is the subconscious, because that's where the behaviour comes from, doesn't know reason, right or wrong. It just knows, right, this is what we do.
Yeah,
so that's going to make me feel better.
Yeah, so that's where we have to get conscious to this, you know. And one technique that I can offer you guys is, if you are going to go for the food, just have a bit of reaction time between what's happening and how you're reacting. And you can ask questions like, do I want this? Yes or no? Write it down. If it's yes, write down why you want it. Do I need it? Yes or no? Is it going to solve the problem? Yes or no? And answer the questions. And how will I feel after I've eaten it? And then once you've answered those questions, if you have it with no guilt. But if you've decided not to have it, don't have it.
And we talk about this quite a bit. We call it the reactional gap. Situation comes, and 9 times out of 10, we react here, really close to it. Situation, reaction, straight away. Go to the fridge, have the glass of wine. If we can create a big enough gap in between the situation and the reaction will 9 times out of 10 be different, because we've got time to think, process, and sort of react to it.
But it's not going to be easy.
It takes effort.
It takes effort, right?
It's like training your dog. It takes time, and it takes repetition.
Yeah. And
you haven't met my dog, it's not trainable.
and sometimes you'll get it, and sometimes you won't. Yeah. But don't beat yourself up for the times that you didn't, because the only person that ends up getting beat up is you. You know? So go, okay, right, mark it down to experience. Why did that happen? How can I sort it for next time?
I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, though, about habits. When you said about my exercising, and like, how long did it take to build up to exercise daily and be going to the gym daily? And it took a long while. And I've got the association of exactly which bit of the gym I train in, equipment I use, where I put my music. It's always in the outside bit. So I've got all these little things. So straight away saying to me, train in your living room, I'm like, no, that won't work, because it's so different. And that's completely alien to that habit that I had before. So changing that takes time, doesn't it? And it's the same with this, what you're saying about changing eating habits, creating that gap between situation and reaction, because it's instinctive. It's probably based on things we've been doing since we were like this high. Sorry, couldn't see that was low. Out of screen. But it is, isn't it? And you mentioned, like, if you're a rebel, then you're going to think instinctively go back during this time, and difficult times, stressful times. Instinctively you're going to respond in a way that you used to respond in the face of trauma. So absolutely. These things are quite ingrained, so I don't think people should feel bad if they can't sort of address them overnight, but it's progress. Like you're saying with exercise, it's all progress, isn't it?
And like, have you ever trained in a different gym, Sadie?
I hate it, because I travel with work, well, I used to, and I'd always book a hotel that had a gym, but then 9 times out of 10 I didn't use it, because I was like, I don't know where the equipment is, I don't know where the water, I feel uncomfortable.
Same thing.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Same thing.
I thought that was just me being me, but clearly it's not.
And also, like when we went to America and we trained out there, went to CrossFit Box, I was like, these weights are definitely heavier. Definitely heavier.
It was weird because they're in pounds and
Oh
we're
yeah,
in
that
kilos.
was always difficult. Yeah, but yeah, as you say, we've been doing this stuff since knee high, and a lot of us don't even realise that.
And we like to go back to what is easiest.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't do stuff sometimes, because it takes a little bit more effort to do it that way than it does to do it our normal way. So we think, oh, I'm not going to do it.
We sit in the old comfort zone, in our tracksuit bottoms on the sofa with the wine and the chocolate. Do you know what? I think talking to you guys, a massive thing that I've taken away is just about the routine, and that I and a lot of people used to have routine, and this has been so massively disrupted. And I feel like at the moment, at least over the last few days, since the change of lockdown status, that people have just maybe started to find their stride of being in lockdown, and they could only exercise once a day, and how to work at home, and how to homeschool. And it's been 6-7 weeks maybe, and people have started to maybe develop habits of how to adjust to this, because we do tend to adjust given enough time and acclimatise. And now it's like, whoop, it's changed again, and you can go out and do what you want. Some of you are going back to work, some kids are going back to school, and people are suddenly like, oh right, okay, I've got to adapt again. And I think the routine element is so key, because we all need routine. I haven't got children, but even I'm aware that with babies, they need routine of sleep, of dinner, all of this. And we're the same. And the minute you strip that away, it is unsettling, isn't it? And you're like, oh, I'm not really sure. So
we all have routine though. Literally being at home now, and the birds are starting to come in the garden. I go out in the garden in the morning, and the birds come down morning, lunchtime, and then even to feed. They've all got routines, right? And I've noticed the bird. We've got a pigeon called Dropwing, because he's got one wing. He's got a routine.
He's got a routine.
Literally, he's got a routine. we all love a routine.
But also, I mean,
Brave are your cats about, aren't they?
Oh no, they just sit and watch.
They just sit back forward.
Honestly. But like even like in one of our programs, Freedom 90, we have a whole section on morning and evening routines, A, B, C routines. So an A is a longer one, a B is a shorter one, and C is a, oh my gosh, I've got to get the bus or whatever. So they're there to start the day with focus and in a healthy way, and they're there to bookend the day, right? So that you don't take anything over to the next day and set yourself up for the following day. So having a bookend in your day, doesn't matter what happens in between, everything might fall to pieces, but at the end of the day, you have some reflection time where you do what you need to do to go, right, that was that day, tomorrow's a new day, this is what I'm going to do, this is my intention.
And that really helps with sleep quality as well, doesn't it? Having that set routine, that structure, because that's another thing, and perhaps another video. But I had a lot of people I know as well, their sleep has really suffered. My nightmares have been ridiculous, my dreams in general. But yeah, I mean, having that set routine, I know, is something that people would help their sleep quality. So last thing I'd like to ask is just if you guys can signpost and just let people know where they can go if they want to hear more from you guys, more advice from you guys of anything that we've talked about today. So where can they head to?
So we are on Instagram, which is Rock Solid UK, and we are on Facebook, which is Rock Solid Health. Also on YouTube as well, Rock Solid Health. Also website rocksolidforlife.com with the number 4, because we have to be awkward.
And every 10 o'clock every morning we do a 10-minute section on our business page, which is Rock Solid Health as well. So
10 at 10. Well, it's kind of turned into 20 at 10. But yeah, exactly.
Crammed full of value, that's why. There's so many points to cover. Excellent. And you mentioned Freedom. Is that a group that people can join?
Freedom 90 is one of our programs. But if you do want to look at working with us more, then we've got Freedom 365, which is our coaching community, where we help people, as we say, understand their mind to control their body so that they can find their own version of health and well-being.
Amazing. Something I think that we could all do with right now. So thank you so much for this today. It's been brilliant. I feel really energized. Whenever I talk to you guys, I feel really smiley and happy and energized from it. So thank you very, very much. I might go for a run. Who knows?
Excellent. Love it. Thanks.
I'll let you know how I get on. Anyway, thanks very much. See you later, guys.
See ya. Bye.
Take care. Bye. 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 Bye.